Tuesday, July 18th, and this is Geeknights. Tonight we talk about that old standby and German-style gaming, Settlers of Catan. Also, a Geekback about arcade games, and some talk of the new Steam games coming out.
Let's do this!
Now, I'm normally not one to complain about the heat. I mean, I like it when it's really, really hot in the summer. You know, hot and humid and miserable for everyone else.
Well, I like it when the weather is, not too hot, not too cold, just right. But after having lived in Rochester for many, many moons and...
You mean the ice planet fucking Hoth.
You mean Hoth 2. Hoth 2. And after living there for quite a while, I do prefer, more sun. I would rather die in a fire than die in an ice cave.
I just generally like it hot. I mean, the summers I grew up with...
Some like it hot.
...is a great movie. We're actually a lot hotter than the summers I experienced, in Rochester and living down here. But today, it was a special brand of hot. Now, I'm at work, and it's really, really hot, and the air conditioning's barely keeping up. And, I poke around in the weather to see if there's a thunderstorm or anything coming. And I see that for Beacon, well, first of all, driving into work, there were big signs everywhere warning people that there was an ozone alert and that you shouldn't go outside at all. And they were like, take public transportation, don't walk outside, it's dangerous. All right, whatever. So I look at the weather. There is a air stagnation warning for Beacon, in addition to an ozone warning and a thunderstorm warning.
Well, air stagnation is important for sailors, and ozone is important for old people, and thunderstorms, that's not a warning, that's like a, hooray, thunderstorms.
Now, I never really lived in a place where ozone was an issue. I mean, in Sterling Heights, Michigan, everything's flat. Ozone doesn't accumulate anywhere.
I've never noticed an ozone issue before, ever. I mean, if you wouldn't have told me, I wouldn't have known.
Well, you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
See, I every day this week, I've just been biking outside, when I get home and doing stuff. And today...
My bike's broken.
There's this ozone warning. So, whatever. I've heard about these things in New York City before, and we live kind of downstate, so I figured, all right, it's one of those things. It's probably nothing to care about. I mean, I've gone biking in hotter weather than this. It was only like 94 or something when I went out. And when there's a lot of ozone in the air, you can't breathe so well, which really got to me. I went out and started rollerblading, and I got barely a mile away from the house, and I stopped, and my body was just trying to die, and I couldn't make it, and I had to hobble my way back home.
I would like to know how much of that was psychological. Like, what if you didn't know there was an ozone warning? Would have the same result happened?
You know what?
Who knows?
I don't think so, because I got kind of sick, and I really had to get home and cool off. And I've biked in hotter weather, and I've run in hotter weather, and I've never had trouble breathing before.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess we'll never know. Unless maybe we tell you it's an ozone warning when it's not.
Go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to tell, because I'll be able to breathe or not breathe.
Yep. Anyway, in addition to that, I just want to let everyone know that if you have an ionizing air filter, throw it out. Because basically, even though it does kind of filter the air, sort of maybe.
It filters the air really well.
It fills your house with ozone.
Yeah, actually, this is something I told Scott about back at RIT, and now we crusade against it.
Yep.
Because ionizing air filters, they use ions and electricity to pull particles out of the air as an air filter. But that smell after a thunderstorm, or that smell after you've had an old NES running for a couple hours? That's ozone. It is generated by electricity, basically. I'm not going to go over all the details of it, but electrical devices and electrical discharges generate ozone. Ozone is somewhat toxic and displaces oxygen in the air, among other effects.
Yeah, it's like you think ozone and you say, oh, great, the ozone layer, blah, 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 blah.
No, it doesn't float up there.
No.
It stays down here and fucks you.
Exactly. It's not something you want to breathe. Isn't ozone just like O3, right?
Yes, it's O3 with I forget the names anymore because it's been over a decade.
I used to know in 10th grade chemistry. Now I don't know anymore.
It's been over a decade since I took a chemistry class.
I took a chemistry class freshman year of RIT, and you know what? That class should have been an A class. Like, I knew everything because I had just taken chemistry in 10th grade and reviewed all that stuff again.
Did you just not do the homework?
Grade. No. One day where I happened to not go to class was the first incredibly easy test. and he lets you drop one test.
Ah.
So I ended up dropping this test that I probably would have gotten 100 on, which was basic, what's it called, stoichiometry?
Yep.
Yeah. Which I would have gotten 100 on, so that kind of screwed it over. And that guy actually was proud that he gave bad grades.
Yeah, well, I can say back in high school, there were a couple of classes where the average grade was about 35%.
Yeah, this guy was like, I give the lowest grades on average in all of RIT. Mwahaha. And this is my first quarter ever at RIT.
Wow. You know, that's one of those situations. Of course, maybe it was because I had a hair trigger.
In
but
basic chemistry.
I would drop a class at the drop of a hat.
A lot of people did drop, but
I mean, RIT had
I went through RIT with barely any. I don't think I dropped or W'd anything.
I dropped like 10 classes and I W'd at least 4.
Yeah, I didn't use my W's.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, actually, I didn't W so often just because usually I could tell within a week if I liked a professor or not. And if a professor even looked at me the wrong way, I'd be like, fuck it, and I'd quit.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I really didn't want a W because that would delay me getting the hell out of there.
Ah.
Yeah.
I was taking all superfluous classes.
Yep.
See, the trick is I always signed up for one more class than I needed in any given quarter.
And then W'd one of them?
Or either W'd one of them, or I just drop one. Like, I'd sign up for 16 or 20 credit hours when I only needed 12. That way, if one class sucked or just the workload wasn't worth it, I'd just drop it and not worry about it. And I still learned something, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. All right, anyway, let's do the Geekback, which we still don't have music for.
So we got this email from Kid.
With
the
two Ds.
Yes, the title of which is, quote, House of the Dead 4 is the shit! Exclamation point.
Ah, only one exclamation point.
Yes,
Mr. Period is pleased.
Quite.
All right, I'm probably going to read the complete first and last paragraphs, but the middle paragraphs are going to get paraphrased.
Of course you're going to read the complete last paragraph.
Anyway, hey, Rim and Scott. I'm an avid listener of your podcast, especially your anime and tech shows. Even though I'm a rabid Sony fanboy, I tend to agree with most of the shit you give Sony, especially about their goddamn proprietary software and the potential failure the PS3 may be. Where's the good news? Where's the good news?
Just keep pounding you and pounding you and pounding you with bad news. Bad news.
After bad news. All right. I've got the Sony NWA 3000 20 gigabyte MP3 player. Okay. I don't know. I'll have to go look that up to see what it's like. Which, as a player, is great, but the bundled MP3 transfer software, I've blissfully forgotten the name, is mind-booglingly crap.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
I think you wanted 2 G's and not 2 O's.
I sympathize with this kid, fully, because my little recordy bit we use for conventions is equally terrible. The recordy bit's great. The software is godforsaken, unmitigated crap.
Yeah. Luckily, they re-released their Sonic Stage software, which does run surprisingly smoother, and I can just about live with Sony's ass-poor attempts at making their own software. Why, God, why? Exclamation question, exclamation question, exclamation.
Are you going to do the AWO thing of read all of the
No. Is this a test of my faith? By the way, I love the show about the Mac you got to do your podcasting. Take that, you condescending Mac users.
Actually, the fun thing is, the Mac has found a very useful home in our house, considering that now we know about Macs, which we didn't so much before, and it's actually a very good living room PC, other than a few annoyances we're still working on.
Yeah, it can't do something. Well, we'll talk about that in another show.
Yeah.
But, yeah. The Mac is now the living room PC, and overall, it's better than our previous living room PC, but it still has some minuses.
All right.
Anyway, see, any of the people in the forum who made a thread about MP3 players, now you know about Sony players.
Yeah, probably don't buy one unless you're willing to put up with that crap.
Yeah, and my real question is, I guess these Sony players don't work on Linux. Maybe, do they work on Mac? That's a really good question.
I've run, actually, the recordy bit I have does not work at all on the Mac.
Huh.
It is Windows only. In fact, it is Windows 2000 and XP only.
Wow, and what about people who, I know a lot of people use their iPods and other MP3 players with their Xbox 360. Can you use these Sony players with that? Probably not.
Anyway, to continue the email, because here's the part that's really relevant to tonight's episode.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I wanted to write about my own first-hand experience with the new Time Crisis 4 and House of the Dead 4 arcade games. Both are crazy fun, but I think House of the Dead 4 comes out on top as my main coin guzzler and eventually an unhealthy addiction. I'm currently doing a summer job in Hong Kong.
A Summer job.
All right. A Sumerian job. Ooh.
It's a Summer.
Summer. All right. I thought we weren't gonna make fun of that.
Star Control joke. Mern. We are the Mern.
And there are a buttload of arcade centers, one of them being just down the road from my office. As soon as I listened to your podcast on the new TC4 and Hot D4, I had to go out and try them for myself. Suffice to say, I spent a ridiculous amount of money at the arcade that day.
Yeah, personally, while I like arcade games a lot, other than competitive racing games and DDR, a gun game, I like gun games, but I tend to play them, beat them, and then never put any money in them again.
See, well, it depends on the game. I mean, games like Time Crisis, I'll play through once with someone like you, and then I'm done with it, but a game like, I don't know, Police 911, I'll just play it over and over and over and over and over and over. I never get sick of it.
Yeah, I mean, like, occasionally I'll play Time Crisis 1 or 2 while I'm standing around, but, you know, if I'm not playing, those are games you play to beat, because there's actually some kind of a plot there, kinda, and you want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then he goes on to review Time Crisis 4 and House of the Dead 4 separately.
Yeah.
So Scott, you want to handle the Time Crisis 4 since Time Crisis is your game?
Yeah, I'm not going to read the entire Time Crisis 4 review, but he says he's a fan of Time Crisis. He likes the pedal, the separate screens, and the players taking separate routes adds to the realism. He says the guns are too bulky, but he likes the kickback. It's called,
force feedback.
Well, force feedback and recoil. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, or kickback.
I guess.
A lot of people call it kickback.
Okay. Anyway.
I don't know what your problem is against kickback.
Yeah. Personally, I think that I want a heavy gun to play. It's got to feel real freaking sturdy. The sturdier, the better.
Yeah. The problem is if it's as heavy as a real gun, you'll get tired right quick playing a game like that.
Yep. But if it's, as light as, say, the games for Area 51 back in the day, it's like it's too light, so it's really hard to aim because any small movement of your arms just, the gun moves a lot. It's too easy to move the gun around. Anyway, his main gripe with the game is that it's a little too hard. The switching view mode is overwhelming at times, especially when you're completely surrounded, and he forgets to switch views. Well, I didn't have the problem of not knowing to switch views because it puts these giant left and right arrows on the screen.
Yeah, though you didn't get so far in the game yet. I have a feeling it gets kind of nuts with that.
I do have a feeling it gets a bit nuts. And also there's you have to keep switching weapons because in certain parts you need the right gun. But at the same time, if the game is too hard, that all depends on how the arcade operators set the difficulty. If people don't realize this, but pretty much every arcade game, even things like Pac-Man and Galaga, have internal difficulty settings where if you open up the back panel, you can set it to like easy, normal, hard, stupid hard. And generally what they do is on very, very popular arcade games, they set them to stupid hard because that way people will play, lose real quick, and then play again.
Yeah, like stupid hard Sinistar.
Exactly. And when games get, older and older and are played less, arcade people put them on easy. Like, you'll know an easy Galaga machine because you can just hold the button down and the ship keeps shooting. But on a hard Galaga machine, it's the real Galaga. He shoots 1, 2, 1, 2, So, yeah. Anyway, he keeps getting shot. Maybe his reflexes are crap and he hasn't perfected dodging bullets. Yeah, that's pretty much Time Crisis is all about, is when you see the thing, you let go of the pedal. However, I have noticed that in Time Crisis, 1, 2, 3, when you're about to be shot, this like a red ring appears around a bad guy whose bullet is going to hit you. And when you see the red ring, you pretty much have to let go of your pedal immediately or else you're going to get hit. In Time Crisis 4, at least the ones that I played on the shore,
I had no chance, personally.
Yeah, the time that you have, reflex-wise, to escape getting shot is almost nil. Like, you'd pretty much have to let go of the pedal like a millisecond after the red ring appears. And I don't know if that's because of the difficulty setting on the machine or if they just made Time Crisis 4 harder in general. The great choice of weaponry is a superb addition that you will generally stick to the pistol. The weaponry, actually, of, the pistol, the machine gun, the shotgun, and the grenade launcher, those were added in Time Crisis 3, not Time Crisis 4. I don't know if there's any more weapons because I didn't get very far in the game.
I think maybe his point might be that the weapons like in Time Crisis 3, I almost never changed weapons. Like I never even thought.
But he says here you'll mostly stick to the pistol. However, in Time Crisis 4, they do give you a lot more ammo for all the guns. Like in Time Crisis 3, you start out only with pistol ammo. In Time Crisis 4, you have ammo for everything, and you're actually required to use the other weapons to get through certain parts of the game. In 3, the weapons are just kind of there to use whenever you're having a hard time or just have fun with a machine gun. In Time Crisis 4, there are actual gameplay elements involving...
I seem to get a lot of ammo for those things, which was surprising, and I ended up using them a lot more than I would have expected. Because I'm a hoarder in games like that. In any game...
The shotgun especially.
That gives you choice of weapons, and they're all limited ammo. Like Eternal Darkness. I would use that axe or the knife or whatever non-ammo weapon I had on every freaking enemy, and then I'd get to the end of a stage and have 1,000,000 bullets for whatever guns I had because I never used them.
That was always my problem in especially FPSs. I would just save up except for Doom. In Doom, I just waste my rockets like
really. Doom, I would count like individual shotgun blasts.
It's weird. In Doom, the game where you need to save stuff the most, I don't hoard it all. I just spend it because I love shooting that plasma everywhere. But in Half-Life 2, I'm just like saving every goddamn ammo and using the weakest weapon possible to kill the enemies nearby. I'm like, ooh, let me move this way. I can kill those guys with the barrel, and the fire barrel and a pistol, or I'll throw a blade at them with a gravity gun instead of wasting a bullet. All right.
Now then, House of the Dead 4.
Oh, he gave Time Crisis 4 8 out of 10.
True. Well, no, he gave it star 8 over 10 star.
8/10.
Ah. All right, I'm going to try to actually read the second paragraph here in the review section.
Whoa.
House of the Dead 4. I've never really liked playing the House of the Dead games, but this version is ridiculously addictive. The new Uzi-style guns are fairly easy to handle, but unfortunately, with the addition of the shake mechanism, they didn't include a kickback mechanism. The new shake mechanism adds another fun interactive feature to the game, but the situations where you use it are easy to complete, like a zombie or a boss grabs you. I believe they've also integrated the shake mechanism into reload, so you don't need to aim off screen to reload. You just need to give the gun a shake to reload, which is very useful when dealing with a horde of zombies. My friend and I attempted to complete the game, but we gave up when the final boss respawned after an extremely drawn-out final battle. Yeah, Crystal Chronicles.
Every game made by Square ever.
No, I don't think we can ever express to anyone who hasn't played Crystal Chronicles how long the final boss fight is.
Well, when we were the minimum level necessary to do it, basically.
Yeah.
If we had leveled up for like 2 more days, we would have been much shorter.
Hours on one boss, and every time we killed it, a new boss came. Anyway. This game was crazy fun to play and extremely addictive. You put a great emphasis on crazy fun. There is a decent variety of zombies and monsters to annihilate, and although there are no weapon upgrades, you do have grenades, which can be useful in a sticky situation. He gave the game 9 out of 10.
Yeah, personally, I didn't really... House of the Dead was always cool. It was the gun game to play when Time Crisis wasn't there. But I personally... The thing I don't like about House of the Dead in general is that you're shooting so much because you can't just shoot the zombies dead or shoot twice the zombies dead. Like in Time Crisis, shoot a guy in the head, he falls over unless he's wearing armor. It was just aim at a guy, shoot. Aim at a guy, shoot. So many times to get these zombies to fall down. And it was just kind of hurting your hand. And there was a lot more just pulling the trigger a whole lot and a lot less aiming and doing cool things.
Yep, the ooziness really seems to mitigate that because now it's just...
Exactly. You just aim at the zombies, you hold it down. You sweep across the zombie heads.
And it has the whole survival instinct of only shoot the zombies that are a threat. Ignore the ones in the back.
Yep. All right. And okay. By the way, on a completely unrelated note, I'm starting my 3rd-year project sometime in the coming university semester. He studies aerospace engineering at the University of Manchester.
Good game.
In the UK. And his project title is Bluetooth as a Communication Device for Wireless Sensors. My knowledge of Bluetooth is pretty basic, so if you guys read my email on your Geekback segment, yep, here you go, then some info on the Bluetooth system would be much appreciated.
We got some people we could probably get on the show to do one hell of an episode about that sort of thing.
Yeah. Hope you guys have a chance to check out these kick-ass games. We already did. And keep up the great podcast. Cheers, kid. Yeah, Bluetooth. I actually had a job that I did not making the wireless sensors, but writing code for a wireless sensor concentrator device thingy. And from what I know about Bluetooth, which isn't a whole lot, I've never actually used a Bluetooth device, but from what I understand, it's rather slow and its range is fairly limited. And for a wireless sensor, I'm not sure it would really be the best choice.
But it depends on the application.
It really does. And also, he's coming at it from the standpoint of aerospace engineering, whereas I'm computer science. So it's a lot more difficult for me to talk from his angle.
Though we could definitely do a Monday show sometime probably after Otakon.
Yeah, I think before we did that, we would need to get some Bluetooth devices and try to work with them.
We could also get we could get James on the show.
Or Steve.
Steve Pomeroy.
Steve knows a lot about Bluetooth. All right.
So we've got some guests we could do for that.
So that's the end of the Geekback segment.
Yeah. We'll probably cover these two games one final third time.
After we beat them.
Yeah, after we go to the shore and pump quarters in until all the zombies are dead.
God, it's going to be like $30 a game.
Whatever. That's fine.
We could buy a DS game instead.
There's no new DS games I want.
There are going to be real soon.
Yeah, quite. You.
Okay. All right. We've been talking about board games as our main bits on Gaming Day for a while now. And so we're going to do a news today that's about video games.
So see, today we covered arcade games, video games, and soon to do board games, all in one go.
There you go. So if anyone hasn't been paying attention, there is a game called Team Fortress 2 that has been promised by Valve for many, many years.
God, I was in high school, and I remember people telling me TF2 is coming out. Oh, my God.
Like, up until a few years ago, you could go to Valve's website, and the same message about Team Fortress 2 was still there. Until Steam came out, the same message was there.
Yeah, because basically, real briefly, there was some of the original mods for Quake 1
There was one called Team Fortress.
They were very similar. They were all Team Fortress or Team Fortress style, where it's like Capture the Flag, but with classes.
Mega Team Fortress.
Yeah, Weapons Factory.
Yeah, they were all Team Fortress-ish. And for when Half-Life came out, there was a mod called Team Fortress Classic.
That was very, very popular among people who played Half-Life.
Yeah, it was like Team Fortress, but slower, but also more polished.
I didn't like it at all, personally.
I didn't like it. However, there was most of it I didn't like. However, the hunted game mode was good because that was essentially CS Assault before CS Assault existed.
See, I'll sound like an old man with my brittle old man hip, but honestly, of all the Team Fortress style Capture the Flag games, Weapons Factory and Mega TF, just to me, are hands down the best ever made. And I'll try this Team Fortress 2, but it's been so long and that genre of gaming has really kind of died away. I wonder how much of an impact it'll have. Maybe it'll revive the genre.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping, especially with Valve's new engine. They could do some really interesting stuff because one of the big things about Team Fortress games are all the different interesting classes and weapons.
Yep, and just the fact that games like this tend to really lend themselves to a pickup game. I mean, Tribes 2, as great as it was, once a game, like if a game started, if you just joined a game, you couldn't really get into it. It was too late. You had to be there from the beginning, and you could only get the full experience if you played with a bunch of people in a clan. But these Team Fortress style games really seem to allow for the lone wolf and really allowed pickup games to work really well.
Yeah, even better than Counter-Strike.
Yeah, in a lot of ways.
Anyway, the point is the Team Fortress 2, which has been promised for years and years and years, is finally really promised. They might beat Duke Nukem Forever to the punch. And what's going to happen is when Half-Life 2 Episode 2 comes out, which is going to come out, I don't know, possibly next year, I'm not quite sure, Team Fortress 2 will also come out, supposedly.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Duke Nukem's going to come out too.
Yeah, we'll see which one. But anyway, yeah. And also, supposedly, when Half-Life 2 Episode 2 comes out, another game from Valve is going to be released called Portal.
Now, I just watched, Scott had watched it before, I think.
I didn't, I watched it for the first time just now.
Oh, great. The video kind of demo of what this game is about, and I went from completely uninterested to quite interested in about 15 seconds.
If I could describe this, I mean, Half-Life 2 is a first-person shooter adventure. It has puzzles, but it also has shooting. Portal is a first-person puzzler.
It's just an FPP. There's no shooting as far as we can tell.
I think there was a bit of shooting, but
Not,
I don't think it was the shooting skill. It was more like Chip's Challenge, avoid the laser.
I think there's less shooting in this game.
I wonder
than there
if
is
anyone listening knows what Chip's Challenge is.
Can I remember Chip's Challenge?
Okay.
I wonder. No, it might be on that hard drive.
It might be.
That dead one.
I think I might be able to get a copy of it. Anyway, the point is that Portal, in Half-Life 2 there's a gravity gun, which allows all sorts of new interesting gameplay in a first-person shooter.
Well, this game has the portal gun.
Yes, what it seems like is you shoot the portal gun, and whatever solid surface or wall that you hit, it makes a portal. And you can shoot somewhere else to make the other end of the portal. And then you walk through.
Now, the engine handles this in an incredibly awesome, pretty way.
Yeah.
You just walk right through. You can just see into the portal. If you can set up situations where you can see yourself in the portal.
Like, this guy was going through loops and stuff, and it's cool because for puzzles, there'll be a puzzle like, get this block into that hole. So you'll have to make a portal, throw the block goes through the portal, lands near you, then crazy 3D interactive environment puzzles involving you creating portals, moving blocks, dodging things, jumping over things, going indoors.
It seems like a game like this could be really, really intellectually stimulating because there's the old 2D puzzle games, push the blocks around, avoid the doohickeys, collect the gemmies and put them in the holes.
Lolo.
This is a 3-dimensional version of that seems to be implemented in a way that no one has ever done before, i.e. well.
I'm really thinking because, we were talking...
Notice how I used IE correctly.
Yep.
Pig fuckers.
Yeah. So, early on in this podcast, in our early episodes, we talked a lot about how PC gaming was dying. And it still is, as far as I'm concerned. But it really seems like Steam, the one PC gaming platform that, I still had hope for, is really starting to pick up, Steam. And, the ship came out, which I'll talk about later because I bought that.
Yep.
And
really,
Half-Life 2 Episode 1 was really good, if short.
The only thing that's lacking on Steam right now is a new multiplayer crazy hit game because nothing's really supplanted Counter-Strike even to this day.
Yep. But yeah, hopefully NS Source will come out.
Yep. Honestly, Natural Selection Source is one of the few reasons in the world that I want to build a fast enough PC to play Half-Life 2.
Yeah, see, I'm really considering, possibly next year, buying a computer that does one thing and one thing only, run Steam. And if I was Valve, Valve the company, because
SteamOS?
Well, because what they've done is they've basically supplanted the game store. You don't need to go, GameStops and EBs have less and less space for PC games now. And Steam is allowing games that would otherwise get nothing, games like The Ship and Darwinia and such, and they're giving them, a huge store to be sold in at reasonable prices that can be downloaded. And
there's now effectively no barrier to entry. You can just write a game or a mod and you can sell it through
If it's
Steam.
good enough, Valve will sell it.
And if it's not good enough, the barrier to entry is your own stupidity.
Yeah, the barrier to entry is Valve approves of your game and thinks it's cool.
Yeah, so there's no one has the excuse of
or Vivendi or whoever.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I
don't know the actual how it works.
No one now has the excuse of the industry is blocking me out and won't let me in and blah 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 blah.
Yeah, so Steam really I think is the hope for the future of PC gaming.
The Great White Hope.
Exactly, and. If there was some Steam OS or perhaps even a device, like, here, buy this box. This box does nothing other than run Steam flawlessly. It's $1,000. Something like that, I would totally go for it.
Yeah, that we probably
Or, Steam for Linux. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello?
I really
Anybody
don't know
home?
why they haven't. It wouldn't take that many resources.
Steam for Mac OS. Hello. What's
Actually,
up?
yeah, it's Intel Mac now. It would be even easier.
I know. I don't know what their problem is.
In fact, because OS X is BSD-like, if you ported it to either one, it'd be trivial to port it to both.
It's pretty much they only need to do one port because they won't just forget the PPC Mac.
You know what the problem is? DirectX.
Yep. I mean, Half-Life 2, they pretty much gave up on the OpenGL. It's all the DirectX.
Yeah, that's the one thing that really bothers me.
I'm beginning to think that's why Half-Life 1 Steam and Wine runs well, because it's OpenGL, yet the Half-Life 2 Steam and Wine doesn't. It works. It's working perfectly, except for the performance is less than a frame a second.
It just seems that Microsoft is leveraging DirectX with ATI in order to make it so that no platform can run games other than Windows, thus ensuring
and
that
the
gamers
Xbox
will all
360,
buy it.
which is also DirectX and Windows.
Well, that's just a PC running effectively Windows.
Sort of, but yeah, you get the idea.
It's running all the parts of Windows that matter.
For gaming.
When you think about it. For everything we would use Windows for.
Yeah, I know. If only, I think they are going to release a lot of these games for the 360, but I really need the whole Steam experience of modding things and all that.
Yeah.
And the keyboard and the mouse.
We'll see.
And the monitor.
Because honestly, the golden age of PC gaming is long past us. And despite your opinions on whether or not gaming is actually dying or not, no one could argue with me successfully that PC gaming is anywhere near the heights it achieved in the mid to late 90s.
Exactly.
I'd like those days to come back, and I hope they will. I'm just not terribly optimistic, though I think these two games and all of the assorted bits around them are the best hope we have right now.
Yep.
Things of the day. Now, I can't hold back on this one. I was looking for a thing of the day, as we usually do before the show. We poke around, we show each other some things of the day, try to figure out, all right, does that pass muster? Is it good enough to be a Geeknights thing of the day? Is it topical? Whatever. Is it old news? Maybe I'll call it retro, and then it's not really old news, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I kind of randomly stumbled upon this, and I had no idea what it was other than that it had the word skeleton and prank in the title.
Ooh, those are good words.
So I started, and it's this Spanish dude or Mexican dude.
We can't tell what nationality he is. He might be Russian.
He's wearing like a black cape and a black top hat, and he's got a microphone and a mustache, and he looks like a really not evil, but evil in an awesome way, dude. And he's speaking very rapidly in Spanish. And
I think it's Spanish.
He's explaining some sort of prank or something that is about to go down. And I'm wondering, all right, what's going on? Are they going to show me what the prank is? Then he shows you this skeleton sitting on a motorbike.
Or a bicycle. We can't really tell.
Yeah, it looks like a motorbike because it makes motorbike noises.
It does. And the skeleton is rigged up so when he talks into the microphone, the skeleton's mouth moves.
All right. So
and the sound comes out of the skeleton with a speaker.
So I'm wondering, what's this all about? Then it immediately cuts to a dude walking down the street, and this skeleton on a motorbike rides by and yells something at the guy, and the guy just loses it.
You have to watch this. It is fan-fucking-tastic.
I mean, I've seen a lot of funny things of the day. There's a monkey thing of the day we haven't used yet.
Yeah.
That is just of the highest caliber. But this is the first time.
It is Tuesday.
This is the first time in a long time that I not only lolled, but I rofled. I was laughing uncontrollably when that skeleton rode by the dude, and the dude just freaks out and runs away and trips over himself.
So, the lesson for today is that fake skeletons talking and scaring people while riding motorcycles equals a Rofelcopter crashing into a roller coaster.
The best one is there's this homeless guy, like the last one they get, he's sleeping under a rag or a blanket or something, and the thing rides up, and the homeless guy, like, he drops his rag or as he's running away, and you see him, like, he turns around to try to grab it, but then he sees a skeleton, and he's scared shitless, but then he really needs that thing, and he doesn't know what to do.
Okay. My thing today is from some guy on LiveJournal. But don't let that get you down. This guy was in Japan, and as you may or may not know, or you should know being a geek, Akihabara, or aka Electric Town, is the geek mecca of the entire universe. And if you go there, there are many, many stores which sell things, like electronic doodads, retro video games, incredible amounts of video games, manga, toys.
Incredibly old school video games.
Anything awesome that a geek could want can be found in Akihabara. However, little do many geeks know that the true mecca of video gaming shopping is not in Akihabara. No, it is not. It is in 3 stops away. It is on the train 3 stops away from Ami on the Togani line to Gumyo. If you go there and then you walk for 30 minutes in sweltering humidity,
a skeleton will ride by and yell at you.
Exactly. You can tell that I'm paraphrasing this guy's blog. You'll find this store that has more video games in one place than I've ever seen in my entire life.
You could take this store, fly it over to the
Do you remember
US.
there was a thing the other day of the guy who had an incredible video game collection in his basement?
Yeah.
One shelf of this store puts that guy's entire collection to shame.
They could lift this up, bring it over to the US, stick it in Manhattan, and make it a museum.
Exactly. I mean, not only do they have pretty much every PlayStation game, every NES game, every SNES game, blah, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They've got every obscure thing you could possibly imagine. Now, of course, the prices are high for things at this store. You know, if you want to buy a DS, I wouldn't recommend buying a DS there or an Xbox there.
But if you need some sort of
if you need
NES
ultra
game,
rare Sega Saturn game, if you need a Neo Geo, if you need a Neo Geo PC LT, or
if you need a Sega CD so you can play Sewer Sharks.
Yeah. If you need games for, hard... if you need a Sega Master System, they've got a mess of them. This is the place to go. And it's really not much more I can describe to you with words. You just have to see the pictures.
Words.
You just have to see the pictures of this place. They even have stacks and stacks and stacks of manga, as well as on one wall, they have the PlayStation 100, which are the 100 most popular used PlayStation 1 games. So yeah, this store is the amazing. Now, there's one more thing you have to know about this store. Next door, there is a store that is, quote, full of one-coin figures, models, toys, and more Gundam goods than you could point a stick at. This is for another day. The guy didn't go to that store. So
that says a lot.
So there is an amazing store that is basically the king of video games, as far as I'm concerned. I've yet to see any other store beat this store as being the ultimate video game store. And next to it is what is supposedly the ultimate toy store, a little figurine store. So there you have it.
Yeah. We just
Akihabara is bait to lure the geeks away from the true Mecca.
I really just have to go to Japan.
I think so too.
I could spend months there just seeing all of this, it's weird how much of the media and geekery I consume comes from Japan and Japan alone.
I really have to go there and then go to this store, buy stuff, ship it home on UPS, go to the store, buy stuff, ship it home, go to over and over again until I've gotten everything I needed.
I think I'd be content just looking at it. I'd buy one thing and keep it in my house as a relic. Like when you go to a sacred shrine and you take the rock
here's the thing
home.
is that I would be content just looking at it, but I also want to play a lot of it. Now, if there was some way I could go to the store.
Emulation is your friend.
Some of these things can't be emulated. That's the point. I don't want to play SNES games, whatever. I want to play the ultra rare Sega Saturn games or these ultra rare Neo Geo games. Things that no one else can play. Things that aren't emulated. Things where there are no emulators for them. Those are the things I want to play real bad.
Yep, but anyway, we should probably move on to the main bit since we are trying to cut the show back down to a reasonable length.
Yes,
and we've already gone on far longer than we expected.
Okay, so today we are talking about the classic board game that everyone in the whole world should play.
It's the marijuana of board games. It is the gateway game.
Exactly. I mean, pretty much anyone I know who's into German games who wasn't so cool to be into it before German games were cool got into German games via playing Settlers of Catan.
In fact, I remember very specifically when I went to RWAG, which was the giant gaming club at RIT, where, I went there before I went to the anime club, even though the anime club was far more influential in my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I went, and I saw people playing this game called Settlers, and everyone would say, oh, Settlers is the best game. Oh, you have to play Settlers. Everyone talked it up.
I heard a lot of people talking about it, but I didn't play it until many, many moons later.
I played it quite a bit sooner than Scott, and you know what? I got my ass handed to me.
Yeah, there were guys there who were real good at it.
Yeah, the thing is, now we are both completely equal to them, and in fact, everyone who is good at Settlers is all equal, but we'll get to that later.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the reason we're going to talk about this is it's an old game, and we know that all of you German game fans know about this game, but a lot of people have been asking us or talking about how to get into gaming, how to get into German games, and this is really, other than possibly Carcassonne, one of the best games ever to start your German habit with.
Yes, the thing is, as we will explain later, it is not a good game to continue your habit with.
Yep. Now, the game is very simple in how it's constructed. You have a board, and the board consists of hexes. And every hex is a different type of resource.
Yeah, there's the grain.
Grain, wood, brick, stone, and sheep.
There's also one desert tile.
Which is nothing.
And is surrounded by water, and some of the water has ports on it. Pretty much every other water has a port.
Now, everyone goes around, and you start with 2 villages on the board. And a village will...
Settlements.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Little houses.
Little houses that you put at the intersection of 3 hexes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, every hex will also have a tile with a number on it, and the number corresponds to a possible roll on 2d6, 2 6-sided dice.
Mm-hmm. Which means 2 through 12.
Now, say you have a little house next to one of the hexes touching your house is a forest. It's a green tile, and there's a 4 on it, and so whoever rolls the dice rolls a 4.
You get a tree card.
You get a green resource, 1 wood, into your hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole game is you go around... And every turn, whoever's turn it is, rolls the dice. Everyone collects their resources. Then you're allowed to trade freely with whoever's turn it is. So you can be like, anyone got any brick? I got plenty of sheep, but I need a brick.
Mm-hmm. Because, what'll happen is, number one, the game is a fight to try to get more resources than everyone else. Because if you can always trade in, 4 resources of any one kind for any other resource. So if you can get enough of one thing, that's the same as having a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, the game is basically, you'll get these resources, you want to trade them, and the reason you're doing this is that you have a little card that shows you what all the things you can build cost in resources.
Yes, you can build roads, you can build settlements, you can build cities, which are upgraded settlements, and you can buy stiffy cards.
Which are just like special hidden cards that have powers.
Yeah, most of them are soldiers, but the point of the game is that pretty much anything you buy will directly or, get you a point. Or possibly slightly less than a point. And if you can get 10 points, you win. And everyone starts the game with 2 points already.
Yeah, and first 1 to 10 wins. It's a straight-up race.
Yeah, so the race is get the most resources, get the right kinds of resources, spend them to build things and expand your, total settlement, and in the end, get to 10 points before anyone else gets to 10 points.
It's primarily a strategic game in that you pick, the way it works is actually, it's a cool mechanic, especially people who have never played German-style games before and never run into anything like this. Whoever starts first puts a settlement down, and then you go around clockwise and everyone puts a settlement down on the board. Then whoever placed last starts again going counterclockwise and puts their second settlement down. So basically, whoever went first also goes last.
Yep. So it's a really fair way to place your settlements because... assuming that everyone puts their settlement in their starting settlement in the best possible position, the guy who goes first gets 1 settlement in the best position on the board and another settlement in the second best position on the board. Now, my favorite thing to do is if the other players are inexperienced, I like to go 4th because they all put their things in stupid places and then I take the 2 best places.
Yep.
If everyone is really experienced, I like to go 2nd or 3rd. It really doesn't matter either way.
Now, the thing is, you're probably not going to have settlements on all the hexes that you need to generate all the resources to build different things. And furthermore, different types of things require different types of resources.
Yeah, if you want to build roads, you need bricks and woods.
And if you want to build cities and stiffy cards, you need a lot of rock and sheep.
Yeah, rock and grain also.
Yeah.
So,
well, you need sheep for everything.
Yeah, so some people will start off the game getting lots of brick and wood, which is great because they can build lots of roads, which you need to connect your settlements. And maybe, they'll get the odd sheep and grain to build some more settlements, but they don't get any rock, which means they're going to have a hard time making stiffy cards, and they're going to have an even harder time building cities.
Now, you get a point for everything you've got on the board, well, every main thing. Like a settlement is worth 1 point, and a city is worth 2 points. And the other ways to get points are that there are 2 tiles, longest road and largest army.
Yes, whoever has the longest road in the game, that is at least 5 roads long, I think.
Yeah.
Gets 3 points.
2.
2?
I think it's 2.
It doesn't matter. And whoever has the most soldiers, at least 3 soldiers, right?
Yes, at least 3.
Gets 2 points, 3 points, whatever it
Yes.
is.
Now
It doesn't matter.
And that's really the whole game. The only other mechanic is that as it goes around, you're drawing resources. Anytime a 7 is rolled, the robber comes out.
The robber.
Now, first off, anyone who has more than 7 cards in their hand, more than 7 resources, has to discard half of them rounding up.
Yep. Now, obviously, if everyone is rolling 2d6 on their turn, 7 is the most common result. However, 7 compared to all the other results combined is not the most common.
Then you take the robber, because you rolled a 7, and you put it on a tile. And whatever tile he's on, even if that tile's number is rolled, nothing comes out.
So if I put it on the 4 that is next to Rim, let's say Rim's settlement or city is next to a grain that has the number 4 on it. I put the robber on top of that. Now Rim rolls the number 4. He doesn't get any grain where he normally would have gotten 2 grain.
Yeah, and then I punch Scott in the face.
Exactly. That's what the robber is all about.
Now the game is mostly just having the strategy of, I plan to start here and here. I want to build roads this way. I want to build settlements this way. This is how I'm going to get the victory points to win. It's slightly tactical in, all right, that guy is going for the same place I'm going. I got to trade for the wood and bricks I need to build the road to block him off so I can build my thing.
Exactly. The only randomness in the game is the dice, which is actually kind of annoying, because the dice can often decide the game. Just randomly, hey, they kept rolling 4. I don't get anything on 4. Rim gets 3 resources whenever a 4 is rolled.
I'd rather have 3 Reese's.
Yeah, but Rim is probably going to win if that keeps happening.
Monkeys are... Oh, my God.
Yeah, but, assuming an even distribution of dice rolling, a bell curve of dice rolling, you can say at the beginning of the game, all right, well, I'm going to spend my resources in this fashion. I'm going to build that, then that, then that, then that, then that. And that's the fastest way that I can get 10 points based on this starting position and the resources that are available.
Now... all of that is very, very quick. The only part of the game that takes a lot of time, and it's the most important part, it's also the most fun, especially for people who have never played a game like this before, is the trading.
Mm-hmm.
Because you want to trade with other people, but you've got to be careful. Because anytime you trade, you're obviously helping the other person almost as much as you're helping yourself. Unless they're an idiot and they're allowing you to get away with a steal.
Exactly. The problem in Settlers is that the highlight of the game is trading. Anyone whose turn it is can freely trade resources with anyone else. You can't trade, if it's Rim's turn, anyone can trade with him and he can trade with anyone. But if it was my turn, then Rim couldn't trade with Joe because it's my turn.
Even though a lot of people will ignore that rule.
Yeah, and they'll just wait until someone's turn and then make the trade. But, the point is that the trading is a lot of fun. You have certain resources, you need other resources, someone else has them, and you trade them resources they need for resources you need.
And of course, you make a lot of jokes along the way. I got a lot of sheep. I need some wood.
Yes. My sheep, they need grain to eat.
And they
are full of bricks.
There's also implements like there are ports around the edges, and they let you trade in resources. Like a sheep port makes sheep more valuable for you. We don't need to get into all that because
No.
if you're going to play the game, you'll read the rules.
Yes. The point of the trading, though, is this. It's a lot of fun, and it's the highlight of the game. It's what makes this game exciting for new players. The problem with it is that there are really only 3 ways a trade can turn up. Number 1, you trade with someone and they rip you off. It's a not fair trade in their advantage. You basically just screwed yourself. Number 2, you rip someone off. Well, good for you. Now you're probably going to win. Number 3, you did an even trade with someone else. Basically, all that does is speed up the game because it boosts both of you equally ahead of the other players.
The reason you do that is you want to, if you're gonna trade, you try to trade equally with all, especially the players who are losing. If someone's losing, you want to trade with them all the time because you don't care if you help them out.
Exactly.
You might even let them rip you off if you really need a resource.
Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, though. Imagine a 4-player game, right? Let's say I make an even trade with Rim. Then I make an even trade with Joe, and then I make an even trade with Jill. Now, I've made each of them, it's an even trade, and it boosts both of us equally. But I've been boosted 3 times, and each of them has been boosted once. Do you see how that works? There is also a big element of the stiffy cards we mentioned. They're like hidden cards that you buy, and most of them are soldiers, which allow you to move the robber around, and you can get largest army with them. Some of them are also special cards like build a bunch of roads or Monopoly is the best. Monopoly is
You name a resource, and everyone gives you all of that resource that they have in their hand.
So let's say you don't have a lot of rock, and everyone else has a lot of rock. You say Monopoly rock, and everyone has to give you all their rocks.
Or one of the first devious strategies someone will come up with.
It's the
when they play
basic
this
strategy
game.
that noobs only fall for once, and experienced people never fall for.
Say I've got a lot of grain, and I have a Monopoly. Because keep in mind, these cards are secret. Like,
Yep.
a lot of times, someone will have a stiffy card, and it might be a victory point. Some of the cards are just straight up one victory point. Some of the cards, they have the power, some of the soldiers. And someone rolls a 7, they're out to place the robber on your space. You hold your stiffy card up, you're not allowed to show it to him, but you can say, this is a soldier, and I will fuck you if you put that thing on my hex.
Exactly.
I suggest you put it on someone else's hex, preferably Scott's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. There's also the element of like giving people resources to say, please don't rob me, take this resource. But I've always had the policy of don't give anyone anything.
Yeah, well, generally, people who are less experienced with German games and less experienced with Settlers enjoy the game a lot more. Like, someone will roll a 7, and people are bribing them, like, I'll give you 2 rock if you jump this on loot.
Yeah, see, that's a lot of fun when you're bribing people to not rob you, you're bribing people to rob someone else, you're trading resources with people. There's a lot of stuff going on, and it's a lot of fun mechanics.
Yep, but before we go on with this, I just want to say, if you're new to German board gaming or German-style gaming or real board gaming in any way, I highly, highly, highly recommend Settlers of Catan.
Yes.
Also, if you are into German gaming but you've just never played Settlers, I highly, highly, highly recommend it.
You have to play it at least once or twice until you figure it out.
But now the disclaimer is gone. Once you get into German gamings and you've learned a lot about it and you start learning game theory, maybe not the math behind it or the theory behind it, but a practical application of it, meaning you can apply game theory in a broad scale to all of the games you play, you'll realize that Settlers of Catan is a 100% random game among experienced players.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone playing the game is very, very, experienced at the game, they are all going to play perfectly. There is going to be barely any trading. No one will ever bribe anyone who has robber. They'll just say, rob me. You'll get 1 resource if you rob me. If we all bribe you, you're going to get 1 resource from each of us. Screw that. And the game pretty much comes down to who went first, because everyone will put their settlements in the optimum position. So whoever just happened to be in the way the board is laid out, and also the dice rolls.
Now, this was evidenced most powerfully for me because I hadn't played the game in a long time, and I went to a sanctioned Settlers of Catan tournament.
Whoa.
This was at UberCon 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the qualifiers, and everyone was talking up, and everyone was really interested. And in all the qualifying rounds, I beat everyone into the ground, and I won, out of hand. In one of the games, someone else almost beat me. It was 10-9, and they would have won on their turn. I just got a little lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find, that narrowed everyone out, elimination. Then we got to the semifinals where now it's all people who are good at the game. It is all people who understand the game, are good at German gaming, have a very good grasp of how the game works. At that point, the game was done. It was completely random. Because after that point, when I played with the qualifying, everyone was yelling and screaming and yelling and having fun and trading with each other.
There are a bunch of noobs that you can trade with. If there's a bunch of noobs playing the game, you trade with all of them equally, and that way, you get boosted ×3 and you win.
Or you pick one of them who is just really dumb, and you trade with him the whole game.
And you just keep ripping him off and siphoning his resources.
Yeah. Or you king make, where say you have a situation where you can help yourself and help someone else. Even if you'll help the other person more than you'll help yourself. If you know the other person is not smart enough or not in a position to win despite being helped like this, you help them as much as you can to elevate both of you so far ahead that no one else has a chance to play. They can't win, and now the game is only between you and this idiot.
Yep,
it's kind of how a lot of Roman emperors got put into power.
So there's a game of Settlers is mostly played with 4 people. You can play with 3, but forget
sucks.
that. Yeah,
5 and 6 is really fun.
There's an expansion pack that allows you to play with 5 and 6 players. It's fun, but it ruins the game even more, I say.
Yeah, to a point. In some ways, it makes the game a little more skill-based, but at the same time, it also makes the game a lot more random. It's hard to explain unless you play it.
Yeah, we're talking about the basic 4-player Settlers with no. There are a lot of expansions for Settlers and a lot of alternates to Settlers, like Starfarers, Seafarers,
Cities and Knights,
Settlers of Canaan instead of Catan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we got to the semifinals, and everyone played perfectly optimally. No one said a word. I think there was one trade in the whole game. And literally, the victory points was like, everyone has 2, then one guy has 3, then everyone has 3, then someone has 4, then everyone has 5. In the final round, I kid you not, it was the guy who won had 10. The rest of us all had 9, and all of us would have won on our turn.
Yep.
Like, I'm not exaggerating at all. This is exactly how it ended. We all looked at each other, and the one girl who was sitting to the right of me said, yeah, I don't know why they had a Settlers tournament. This is kind of silly. And that was the end of that.
Yep. It really, if people are skilled at Settlers, it comes down to randomness. It really isn't a game of skill. It is the purpose of Settlers of Catan. It is probably the best game in the world for introducing people to German-style gameplay and having a lot of fun trading things if you haven't figured out the game yet.
All right, and on that note, I believe we are out of here and actually on time and schedule for once.
Holy crap.
I don't know what I'll do.
Free up a lot of space on Libsyn.
Yeah, actually, the Libsyn problem was resolved. I gotta say, as a quite quick meta bit before I leave, that Libsyn, I mean, we complained about him a lot early on.
We did, and rightfully so, I believe.
Definitely. But they've been getting steadily better. So I'm not going to endorse Libsyn 100% yet, but they're doing adequately, and it's worth the money.
Hooray!
That's what I'll say for now. And that was Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for our opening theme.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontrowcrew.com. If you like our podcasts, you'll love our forums. Make sure you visit them. You can send your email feedback to geeknights@gmail.com. And if you want, you can leave us a voicemail at 206-333-1537.
Geeknights airs every weeknight, Monday through Thursday.
Geeknights is recorded with absolutely no studio and no audience. But unlike those other talk shows, it's actually recorded at night.